I just learned some jazz today, it's true.
Hi everyone, I'm Allie from the Good Cookie Sweet Shop. Today I got to sit down with Vince and Liz and talk a little bit about my journey from lawyer to baker.
Guys, we just had the best time talking with Allie of the Good Cookie Sweet Shop. I had so much fun learning about her journey, turning her passion of baking into profit, and I think you guys are going to love this episode too. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, give us a review on iTunes. Every time you guys give us a review, actually our podcast goes up, so we'd love a 5-star review. Hey guys, so we're going to be actually reading the review, so you leave us a great one. We'll pick our favorite, and we'll read it on the podcast.
Hi guys, I'm Allie from the Good Cookie Sweet Shop. I would love to see you at our shop at 1163 Fulton Street East. We've got cookies as big as your head. I don't know, maybe. We've got chocolates, we've got gifts, and we cannot wait to see you there. Please visit.
Guys, welcome back to the Passion to Profit podcast. Vince, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about our visitor. We have someone very special in the house today, Allie of the Good Cookie Sweet Shop. Vince, you already eyeing the cookies right now?
Oh my gosh, my stomach.
Allie,
It's worth it.
I know.
No, I'm saying like I want them, man. I'm just like, yeah, it looks good.
They're really good. Have you had them yet?
No, I haven't.
Ooh, I'm kind of excited to see a first timer because they're special.
They are special. Thank you. Yes.
So, Allie, for anyone that may not be familiar, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and all about what you're up to?
Okay, so I'm Allie. I'm the owner of the Good Cookie Sweet Shop. We have a shop on the corner of Fulton and Fuller, and it's this adorable little adobe building with a pink door, so you really can't miss it. I think that we sell really unique cookies. They're big, and they're soft, and they melt in your mouth, and they're just kind of delicious. So that's what the store is all about. We also sell chocolates, and we make those in-house, and we sell gifts, and have a really, I think, kind of unique place in our shop.
Yeah, it's so cute and cozy inside.
That was my goal. I want it to be incredibly welcoming to everyone, comfortable, cozy, just that kind of environment that just makes everyone feel like, yeah, this is my place.
Yeah.
Too.
So we all need that warm hug these days anyway.
Yeah. I don't touch people
Exactly.
physically, but with my sweets, I embrace you.
So why don't you, let's step back. Let's go back. Even just talk. Let's start as a child.
Oh.
I would like to know, what were you like as a little girl, as a little kid?
Oh my gosh. What a question. I am a third child. So I have two brothers who are older than me. I don't know what that says about me, but I think that says more about my parents than about me, because I had, I think, a lot of like freedom, how first children, the parents have a really tight control over them, and, they're the kind of leaders, and they develop those personality traits. With me, it was like, hey mom, I'm leaving, and I'll see you tomorrow maybe, or, something along those lines. Everyone was busy by the time the third child came along. But I had a great childhood.
So you were able to be creative and...
I don't know if I was creative. I've thought about my childhood before. We're going to dig up all kinds of stuff, aren't we? I've thought about my childhood before, and I don't have a lot of specific memories about my childhood. I don't think it's because I blocked anything out purposely. I just must have a very bad memory. I think I was like a good child. I was a nice child. I had a good group of friends. I had an exceptional family. They were, besides just letting me roam free, they were very, very good and nice. And I had aspirations from a young age to be a judge, to be an attorney. So I did have that kind of, I knew I wanted to be successful, growing up. That was kind of I'd speak with my friends. Hey, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? Oh, I want to, do nothing. I want to play games. I'd be like, I want to be a judge. I want to make decisions, and I want to tell you guys what to do. But, so I can't so early, I don't remember much. But when I was always a worker. So when I was 15, I got like special permission. Back then, you had to get special permission to work when you were 15. So I started working. I worked at CVS in the mall, Battle Creek, Michigan, Lakeview Square Mall.
Shout out to Battle Creek.
Yep. I worked at the Limited, where I got 30% off all my clothing. And I also worked at the movie theater, where I got free movies. So everyone had a little advantage. So I was working like more than full time, plus going to school full time, of course, because I was pretty young. My first week at CVS, I apparently was bossy enough where they're like, we're going to make you manager, 15-year-old. So I did. I became the manager. I was like in the back behind the mirrors, counting the money and watching. So I guess that means something. I'm not sure what that means or how that translates to my adult life, but
early aspirations.
Yeah. I wanted to work. I knew I always wanted to work. So that's been a consistent through my life. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where did the bakery come and play?
Did
you always bake while you were younger or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom, I was super close with my family still too. And I definitely wouldn't have the good cookie without my family and parents. They're such a huge help. But my mom is an extraordinary cook and baker, and we spent a lot of time in the kitchen together. It's just in the family. So definitely I spent a lot of time with her, and she was always very creative. So I think I got that from her for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't skip the law section.
Right.
So somehow you go from CVS to bakery, but in between there, did you practice law for quite a while?
Yeah. So, so my journey is a little crooked, from CVS to lawyer to baker. So my dad's an attorney.
Okay.
My brother is an attorney. My mom is a teacher. My other brother's a physician.
Okay.
So I definitely had some competitiveness, I think, within me. And I was like, I got to do something fancy. I got to do something that's professional. And so I honestly, when I went to law school, wasn't sure what I was going to do with that. But I had heard from like my family, my father especially, like, you know what, law school is awesome. Like, you can learn so much. Just go to it and see how you feel. You can't do that anymore, by the way. That's not kind of a good reason to go to law school. But way back then, you definitely could do that. So that's what I did. Not exactly knowing that I did like business, knowing that I was a hard worker, knowing that I wanted to do something professional. I went to law school and I loved it.
Wow.
And,
your dad was right.
Yeah, it taught me a lot. I got a great job out of law school here in Grand Rapids, and that's how I ended up here. And I practiced law in a great law firm with great people for several years, and I loved it. Yeah. It's a cliffhanger. Then what?
And then one day you're like,
I hate this.
what happened? What was the switch?
I loved it. I was good at it, but there was something missing. And I was getting older. I didn't have a family yet, but I was thinking about a family. I was busy. It took a lot of my time and a lot of my effort, and I was hardly home. So it was hard. And so I started playing around with doing something different, and I didn't know what. There were a lot of, oh my gosh, what is my passion? Like, and I spent years and years and years figuring that out. And like, I knew it wasn't what I was doing, but I didn't know what it was. And I remember one day in particular in the law firm, a partner coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, don't quit. Don't do this. My life, and he was a partner, he'd been there for years, everything I have could be yours one day. And it struck me because he was there every night until like 11 o'clock at night. And he worked so hard. And I'm sure he hardly saw his kids, And so even though he probably intended that to be like a positive, like, hey, you could have what I have.
You're like, yeah.
I was
don't
like,
want that.
oh my gosh, I desperately do not want what you have. So about that time, my personal life took me to Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, I was born there.
Yeah,
That's
I know
so
you have a
cool.
connection there. Yeah, so my husband was doing his training there.
Is he a doctor?
He is.
My dad did Tucson Medical Center.
The University of Arizona Medical
Cool.
Center. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
How funny.
I
Yeah.
know. We have Boston in common as well.
Oh,
so
shoot.
I
Okay.
know. So we went there, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to pivot. But I needed to hang on to law still because I just had so much invested in it, and I did love it, and I did
Yeah.
want to use my skills. So I started working at the University of Arizona College of Law in
Cool.
the admissions department.
Oh.
So a little bit different. I could still use what I learned, but it was a little bit more
Maybe more balance.
balanced. Yes,
Smart.
and it was good. It was good, and I liked it. And then my personal life took me away again to Boston this time.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure I wanted to continue with that path, frankly, because it was still a lot.
Yeah.
It was still a lot, and it was a lot of not exactly what I wanted to do. But
What were you doing in Boston?
I did law adjacent work, I would call
Okay.
it. So I did a lot of legal writing, and dipped my feet into admissions work online.
Cool.
So I wasn't ready to part with it completely. So I was kind of backing up out of it, but still hanging on to it. And there was a lot of, there was definitely a lot of, there's a lot of connection. There's a lot when I don't know, for me, it was really hard to back off of being a lawyer for a
I
lot
bet.
of reasons. I think that I was tied to the title.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it became your identity.
it became my identity.
And it's almost like mourning the loss of who you are.
Yeah.
And that'd be a big thing to,
Yeah. Yeah.
part with.
Absolutely. And it was a bit that exactly. When I went to parties and someone would say, who are you? And
Right,
who's you?
it's you.
I'm a lawyer,
Yeah.
And with that, I think that there are some assumptions that are baked in, if you will.
Totally.
That are
Here come the bakery puns.
but when you say that, maybe someone thinks, oh, the educated, okay, smart, have maybe a good job, so
Yeah.
there's some things that I was kind of attached to with just that. So it's kind of hard and what people thought of me was kind of a big thing too.
Oh, yeah. And I also feel like even just being a female lawyer still,
Yeah.
similar to being a doctor, engineer,
Yeah.
they're still pretty heavy male.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool, even just that, I'm sure. It was
Yeah.
a source of pride. And
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And, just my own, what I thought of myself was in question all of a sudden, like who I had built myself to be. When I got to Boston, I had a lot of free time because I didn't take on a full-time job. And that, I'll be, how honest am I going to be on this podcast? Like that,
real honest.
it was a little scary to all of a sudden have like this free time with yourself where you weren't filling it with, I wasn't really filling it with things I had to do at work and just like the to-do tasks. So I had a lot of time there to really think about who is this person that I've become, and who am I really outside of my job, and what do I want to be? What matters? What are my priorities? This was 2 years of this thinking. It wasn't like one day I conquered all these questions, but it was like just an extended period of really kind of getting to know kind of who I was and what I wanted to do. So then enter children. And I had a lot more. It was fun. I loved having my kids, and I decided to just kind of step back and enjoy life a little more. And that's really where the baking came in. And really where I got to use my creativeness in that way. And I would bake these like elaborate cakes that took me like 12 hours, and I'd be like playing with the fondant and making characters and just making these and then in 10 seconds they'd be gone because they would be eaten. But I really started to do that. And then as my kids grew up, they did that with me. And I certainly jumped into other law-related jobs along the way because I was still kind of grasping at that, but didn't do it full time. And then one day, it was with my daughter. She's a little older. And I was like, why not try this? And I never thought it would be as successful as it's become. I just was like, hey, let's sign up for some fairs and some festivals and some markets. Let's see what happens. And I was like, what's my investment? Butter, sugar,
Yeah, in a little time, that's it.
In a little time. And that's what we did. Yeah.
So for people listening, what was your thought process like to know when to quit? I think a lot of people who may be listening might be in that same position you were in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are so afraid to quit things or stop doing things, right? And so what was your process like? I know you're kind of getting into a little bit.
Yeah.
But to help anybody listening, what would you say is like a checklist or your kind of thought process? Like, I got to pivot. I got to stop doing what I'm doing. When do I quit doing this?
It's hard to come to that. And it took a while for me. And it was like nothing came bam at once. So I think the first step for me and just kind of my thinking about it was that I had to stop being afraid. I had to have confidence in myself and stop being afraid of the things that I really couldn't control. I had to stop being afraid of what other people thought about what I was doing.
That right there is so
huge.
Key.
It was huge because I was, oh gosh, what's my family going to think? And I remember I met someone along the way in my life who was a lawyer and who was now then a teacher. And what I thought of him at the time, I was a new lawyer, and I was like, must have failed, couldn't hack it, what went wrong in his life? I'm a lawyer, yay. And then, fast forward to me going through that same, I now know that he probably just wanted a better life, and more balance and all that. So I guess first get rid of those unhealthy fears that hold you back. And what I thought of myself, I needed to get through that first. Secondarily, I think I had to, I think definitely you have to have support and the means, because obviously if I didn't have support, financial means to do this, all those things that
makes it easier.
It just makes it easier. I wouldn't have gone out and bought a building.
I feel like that's something people don't talk about as much. We talk so much about what are your passions?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Quit that awful job. But, I always make it really clear the only reason I was able to become a food blogger is because my husband had our insurance.
Yeah.
And I kept my job until I was able to, you don't always talk about the less sexy parts of that.
That's right. And that it wouldn't have happened without that being in place. And that just took, for us, it took a very supportive husband. And it also took years, of building to that. And for some people, it does not take that. But for me, that's what it took. So I think you have to be, that's definitely on the checklist. You have to be smart about those things that
can pay for bakery.
Food on the table, all those things. So just to have that support in place. I definitely had to have the confidence and trust myself before I went into it. And there's so many decisions on a day-to-day basis where I am frankly just not sure. Seriously, every day there's something that comes up where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And so what I have, and part of this is through law and practicing and just life, I've definitely developed confidence in my abilities to find things out and to figure it out. So that's huge. So whether or not that for somebody starting, maybe that's taking a business class or it's taking, some kind of class or have some advanced experience that would help them with that. There are a lot of unexpecteds that just pop up for sure. And then just having a thick skin. You have to develop that, I think. Yeah, for sure. I'm not quite there. My skin is not that thick, but yeah.
You'll get there.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
What advice do you have? I think another common conundrum that people come up with is finding that passion.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for someone that, they always say, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, what if you haven't even found that passion and you don't actually know what that would be? I feel very grateful that I knew at an early age cooking was mine.
Yeah.
And I have so many friends that wish they could have like a passion project that turns into profit. You like that plug there, Vince, of the podcast name? But they don't necessarily know what that, they're like, well, I just like to watch Netflix and get pedicures. Like, sometimes there's no passion that could be turned into profit. So what advice do you have someone, you talked about sitting with yourself and that's a big one, I'm sure. Is there any other advice you have?
That is you definitely hit the nail on the head for me, because for years that was my story. Like, I know this is not what I'm passionate about, but what in the world am I passionate about?
Right.
I would have dreams of having a little shop with my kids working there, but I didn't know what that shop was going to be.
Oh, you did have dreams of that?
Yeah, I definitely had those dreams. Like, I knew I wanted a cute little, something. But I was like, but what is that something, And, I wasn't quite to the point in my mind where I was thinking, like, I can turn this baking love into that. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there yet. But so I searched.
That's cool, though.
I searched for my passion, and definitely sitting with yourself and really establishing your priorities. Thinking about what you want. What do you love to do? Mm-hmm. If you could have all the time in the world. And trying things, which is hard, but so here's the rest of my path that I forgot to say, that I didn't forget to say, but is kind of, there's so many branches of my path. When I moved back to Michigan, I got my real estate license.
Oh.
So I had law in my back pocket, and I did real estate law. So I thought, I'll do real estate. I'll be a real estate broker. Mm-hmm. I did that. I also tried yoga. Oh. I'm a yoga instructor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I was like, this deep thinking stuff really was helping me. Oh, yeah. And I like to do yoga, and why not make this? I think I went to like a Zumba training class. That was another thing. So I tried things. I was like, is this what it is? At the same time, I hope I was being smart, because I was maintaining an income, from these adjacent projects that I was doing. And then ultimately what it came down to was, what do I love? What is my priority? My kids are my priority. What do I love to do with my kids? We love to bake. Mm-hmm. What would make me the happiest? Giving my kids this amazing example of what we can do if we work hard. Giving back to the community. That's another part of the business. But those are what this moment in my life, where I am with my kids and my family and established in Grand Rapids, that's what I wanted. That's what makes me excited. And so I knew that it had to be related to that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that answers your question, but,
I think it does.
Trying things is also very difficult, because we don't have a million hours in the day and money to just kind of like, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to try this.
I'm glad you said that, though, because I think a lot of people are afraid to try new things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are a big fan of that, Vince.
Oh, yeah.
Trying new things.
Oh, yeah. I'll try. I'll keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my whole life. I've been trying.
Like Vince will always say he has to touch the pot to see if it's hot.
Yeah.
Where some people can fact find and research all day.
Yeah.
He's more of like a quick start. Like, let's just see it. Let's just see.
And I'll know instantly, like, this is not it. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Once you try it, or once I
try it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like this.
See, it takes me a while. I gotta get into it a little, and then I'm like, okay, I like this adjacently, but not my whole existence.
Even better though that you can know faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I wish I could know before.
Yes.
I don't know until I touch though.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's not me. For me, it's like, well, let me find out. Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, I don't like this.
Yeah. I think that I have a lot of support from my husband too in that respect. Because one of the things that I love the most about him is that he is also a big dreamer, like a big idea guy. And so I have crazy ideas that I'm like, let's do it. And he's like, yes, let's do it. And so we both are like, let's do this thing and see what happens. And so I definitely think, because I have known people who have been a lot more cautious than that, like, oh, well, that's not in my comfort zone. But he definitely supports my crazy big ideas with his own crazy big ideas. So that's been a big help.
Are
as
you
well.
familiar with the Colby Assessment?
No.
KOLBE. You guys, if you're listening, please go online and look up the Colby. It's how people get into action, and
Okay.
it's how people make decisions. It's your cognitive, right, ability, Vince. And so there's basically you measure up in quick start, fact finding.
Okay.
What is it?
Colby, KOLBE. And basically there's 4 parts to it, and you have a score on each.
Okay.
So, for example, Vince is high in the quick start, so he'll jump into something faster than someone that might be low.
Okay.
And then, like, there's fact finding.
Nice.
So, some people will spend a little bit more time researching and fact finding
Yes.
before they would even jump.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, like, other people are lower on that. And then there's the one that discernment. It's not called discernment, but of it knowing if this idea is good or not.
Okay.
And then
Okay,
I forget
yeah.
the 4th, but
Interesting.
well,
There's a lot of information here on this one we picked.
we'll link to Colby. But
I'll have
it's a really
to-
interesting thing about how people make decisions.
Yeah.
Because what's cool is once you understand how you make decisions, you don't second guess. Like, you don't
Yeah.
waste your time wishing you were a quick start or a fact finder or
Yeah.
because you just are what you are. And
Yeah.
then the good thing
makes
though is
sense.
to have people on your team that maybe are different so that you kind of, don't jump into like,
Absolutely.
or spend too much time fact finding.
Yeah.
Like, anyways.
That makes a lot of sense. That balance.
It's cool.
There. I'll have to look that up for
You should.
sure.
So when did you start the cookie business?
So my daughter and I started it about 2 years ago now. It's
Okay.
been just about 2 years. So we started out, like I said, just like on a whim. She got home from school. I'm like, hey, guess what? We just signed up for 10 markets. Let's bake some cookies. And she was super excited. That's kind of how it started. And then it grew from there. We started getting some success and popularity at these markets, and people started, to my 100% surprise, I kid you not, people were like, oh, I've heard about your cookies, or oh my gosh, I went to the last market and I followed you here, I saw you're gonna be, and I mean, it's been such a personal thing for me, like baking, and that it was genuinely a huge surprise, not a surprise exactly, but just such I was so grateful. Like, I don't know the word. Like, I was just like, you like my cookie. I was like elated. And still, I will say, when someone comes in or when I read something on Instagram about, a compliment on my cookies or my shop or my employees or just like anything, I genuinely am like, I'm so grateful. Like, I feel like, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
It's like still very personal to me. It's not like I haven't morphed into that fully like, oh, it's my business. It's still just like very personal to me.
Yeah.
It might not go
Yeah.
away.
I-
Just a heads up.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know how to
I'm
stop
grateful.
that, so
yeah, I wish
I can't.
But that's where the thick skin comes in, because I have gotten I got this bad review where someone said that my cookies tasted like dough, and I was like, well, yeah, they do, because they're like cookie dough
Right.
cookies.
They're doughy
that's
cookies.
what they are.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time after that for like 48 hours just being like, oh my gosh, they hate my cookies. And I had to get talked off a ledge by my husband. He's like, dude, listen.
Do you ever deal with that with
No,
Oh,
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
honestly, Vince, what's
So
the secret?
blessed, I know.
there's no secret.
Quality
Do you-
food.
Either you value that or you don't.
Yeah.
You want everyone to enjoy your product, of
Yes.
course. Like, you don't set out to like make things that people don't like.
Right.
You also have to understand, like, not everyone's gonna like everything,
Yes.
and so it's like it is part of the game.
That's right.
But I don't. Yeah, I'm not tied into that at all.
That's good.
But I don't think I'm better than. It's just like that's not where
Yeah.
that's not where
I aspire to be there.
But the only
'cause-
thing is, he also doesn't get the positive of the like.
Wow.
It's a good thing though. I'd rather be that too.
Yeah.
But he also doesn't get super excited about a positive thing, right? So
Yeah, it's all
like-
the same to me.
it's
Right.
all the same to you.
which I do think is a better way. But my way of feeling better about it is like, well, I'm so excited when people
Yeah.
are happy with the recipe.
Exactly.
Whereas like maybe Vince would be more like indifferent about
Right.
that. I know.
Well-
I would rather be trusting on your route.
Well, yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it's different strokes for different folks, and then
Yeah.
however your personality is will then determine how you react to something. Like, so for example, I would overreact on how good my business is,
Okay.
like doing financially.
Yes.
Well, other
Yes.
people won't even care about that because they're
Totally.
making their passion. And I'm like,
Right.
no, there's a number I want to hit.
Yeah.
And I'm not hitting that. They're not for 40 hours.
Yeah.
I'm in my feelings, but I didn't hit my number. So like everyone has different things that they value.
Totally.
Right.
I'm not saying that like I just don't care about reviews like that.
Yeah.
Like, we have great reviews though.
Right.
No, you do.
Like
Yeah.
we're like 4.9 stars and everything basically.
Awesome.
So like,
That's awesome.
but it's like,
He really does.
Yeah.
yeah. So
I was
like
like, do
people
you
like,
even get bad
no,
comments?
I rarely get back.
So how
comments.
do you know if you would?
But we have gotten like someone left a really bad review on Facebook the other day,
Okay.
and I was like, hey, sorry, we can refund you.
Yeah.
I'd love you to come back and give you some couple meals.
Right.
If you hate me, you tell 30 people that my food's
Yeah.
horrible, and then that's what it is. Like,
Right.
like the
Yeah.
restaurant game, food game is so unforgiving like that.
I know.
Where it's like you really have one opportunity.
That's what I want to be that. I aspire to
I know,
move
Vince
in that
teaches you
direction
ways.
without losing, the other
Well, I think
things.
you love it what you do, and so yeah, try. You'll develop over time because you realize like, okay, if 99 people love my cookies and one person doesn't, let's focus.
That's
on
what I've
Right,
had to
I know.
learn. Yes,
It's
my
true.
following got big.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing is realizing, Rachel Ray has tons of haters.
Yes,
If
right.
and my husband always reminds me that, Liz, you're reaching between all the platforms, like 15 million people a month.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I want them all to be excited
I
about my
know.
restaurant.
Me
Rich is
too.
like, Liz,
I
that's
know.
not going to happen.
It's a personality
Right.
trait. I think
I
that.
think so, too.
Yeah, I need to be a little bit more objective. I don't
Same.
know, isn't it? Like,
I know. We're going to take after you, Vince.
Yeah,
All right, so
I'm gonna
take us
learn.
from the farmers markets or other markets. And I would love to know how you made the decision to go from that
Yeah.
to brick and mortar. And have we cut ties with all law work at this time?
I will answer the first part of your question first, and then I will answer the
Please.
second. Okay. So I started affairs, got popular, and decided first, before brick and mortar, to get my commercial license. So that
right.
came first.
Okay.
And so I, because I wanted to sell, I wanted to sell online and I wanted to sell in stores. That was my idea. I was like, I want to go to like coffee shops, have them sell my
Totally.
cookies.
So do you have to use a commercial kitchen?
Yes,
Got
in order
it.
to sell to the public in that manner. So I I rented space. That was I think that's maybe one of the most challenging parts about this, and also the thing that I'm most proud of, maybe, is figuring out everything I've had to figure out along the way and then accomplishing it.
Totally.
Because I didn't have anyone that had just done it that
Oh,
I could
yeah.
go to. It was like a lot of Google research, a lot of just like hours and hours of, I don't just jump into things. I do a lot of research. So a lot of hours of just like figuring things out that weren't necessarily easy to figure out. So anyway, that was one
Yeah.
thing, was that commercial
I definitely get the
license.
fact-finding vibes from you, and I like it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go to law school and be a lawyer
No,
and not
100%.
do research. I do have crazy ideas that I do jump into on occasion,
Yeah.
but it's supported by
And you probably
too
have a
many
good
hours
distinction. I gotta look up the name of that, where you can tell if it's a good.
Yeah.
I think you naturally also can just.
and years of experience, I
Yeah.
think also. But so we decided to do that, and so I rented space at a commercial kitchen, and I did that for a while. So that's for, I don't know, I guess about a year or so. I did that. So I sold online, sold in a couple stores. I should mention, in the process of all of this, I bought a chocolate business.
I was wondering because you
Yeah.
mentioned chocolates. That's not anyone can make chocolates, you guys. That's
It's hard.
hard. I could maybe make a cookie, not as good as yours, but chocolates I would never pretend I could do. You need thermometers.
Yes, you do. Yeah, and I wasn't much of a chocolate maker before, so I jumped into.
Why'd you buy the chocolate business?
I wanted to expand my offerings, and
I do love chocolate. That was smart.
it was, I wanted to do more. I don't know why I wanted to do
A little
more.
ambitious.
It wasn't
A little
enough.
ambitious.
Whatever I was doing didn't seem to be enough. But
I'm about to try one of
I
these.
think that I also, in the back of my mind, at that point, I was thinking maybe I'll get a store. And what am I going to put in that store? I want to put sweet things in that store. What kind of sweet things do I want to put in that store?
Makes sense.
I want to make chocolate. I want to put chocolate in that store. So, I mean, that was a very simplified way of saying, of my thinking, I think, at the time.
How does somebody buy a chocolate business? Is there like a
I did not buy, she didn't have a, I heard from a friend, a mutual friend, that she was moving and selling her chocolate business. And so I just purchased her, I'm not sure if I didn't purchase her LLC, but I purchased her assets and recipes and
Her
all that
IP,
kind of thing.
what she does.
Yes.
Yep.
And so she didn't have a store, so I didn't have to worry about a lease or anything like that. yeah, that's how I
That's
did
so
it.
smart.
And then I worked with her for months to learn. That's an important part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked with her for months to learn how to do it all. So yeah. So
Do you still have the chocolate business?
yes. Yeah, it's now part of the Good Cookie Sweet Shop.
Okay.
And I changed my name. At the time that I bought the chocolate business, I was like, it can't be the Good Cookie anymore. It has to be the Good Cookie Sweet Shop to incorporate more because I want to do more. So, so I did that, and I was selling online for a little bit. But in the back of my mind at this point, I was like, well, maybe I'll do a little. Maybe I'll look for a place, and that's a story in itself because I was kind of sort of looking, but probably like you, I was particular in where I wanted to be. And it wasn't just anywhere. And I should say that this particular building that I'm in, I've loved it for 6 years, ever since I moved here. So this is another one of those things where, I don't know, stars align. I'm not sure, meant to be, whatever it is. I looked online passively, like, I wonder what's for sale, what's for rent. And I found that building available. And I like screamed and called my husband and said, this
Jumped on
building, I didn't. I actually sat on it. And it almost got taken. Yeah, and I was almost too late. And then when we realized that we almost lost out, we're like, we need to make this happen. And during that period where we almost lost out, my husband's like, hey, look at Wealthy Street. You know, look at like, hey, there's a cute place by Yesterdog, you know, that little place that has been a couple things. He's like, what about that? Or what about Cherry Street?
Yeah.
And just, I really like the vibe of this general area. And I was like, no, you know, nothing is speaking to me like that cute little soon-to-be pink building.
Like you already knew, like it's
I
pink.
kind of knew. It was just like, and it happened. And at that point, from my online business, I had modest success, not big, but I had big dreams. I had big aspirations.
May I ask you, is it hard to get a building when you don't have like, I think that's something so many business owners face. If you don't have like 10 years of amazing success to show, they're reluctant to take a chance on you with the
Like
bank.
the financing?
Yeah.
It was, we bought it in our names.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because originally we were going to try to finance it through the business.
Oh, okay.
And certainly I was trying all kinds of women-owned kind of things.
Grants and programs and
Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. I was thinking like a minority, you know, all those things that I was trying. And as you point out, too big of hurdle for the business.
Yeah.
Absolutely at that
Support it.
point.
Right. That makes sense.
We couldn't do it. So we really took a leap.
personal.
Oh, yeah.
We really took a leap.
You did.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but that's
And-
another example, though,
yeah.
to people out there. It's like another way to do it, though.
Yeah.
There's always a way. Like, there's another.
There's
If
a
you
way.
want, you make it happen.
Correct.
think
It's
so.
it's
I think
interesting
so.
to me because I've never looked at brick and mortar. It's cool the different paths to it,
Yeah.
and I just think that's
Yeah.
super
And
interesting.
I didn't want to lease either. I wanted to own. I was like, I want
move.
control from when I was a child. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever those. We started out the conversation from
Oh
childhood.
yeah,
I
especially
wanted
these days and
control.
right now and where you are, that
Yeah.
spot, like that was so smart.
Yeah, one of my
Thank you.
biggest regrets. Anyone who wants to do brick and mortar business, especially restaurant or any food based, like my biggest regret is leasing.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, like just sets you up better if you own something.
What
No.
kind of hassles have you had, or what kind of issues?
Yeah, you're just not in fully control of your destiny,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
Like the fluctuation of like the rent or
Yeah.
There's all of it. You're just not in control of it.
yeah,
You're renting space. You're renting time
Right.
from somebody else.
Yeah.
And so it's like you fit into their picture, not your own.
Yeah.
And so like I think that's really hard.
well, and you're not
Especially when
building
you-
your own asset up. Versus,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
When any startup business, it's different when you're like Starbucks or something that's already established. You have your formula. You know what you're going to do.
Right.
You don't want to own too much because you want to be as lean as possible. That's different when you're like past like we were 1,000 locations. That's a different business model.
yeah,
For sure.
Like when you're starting up, a lot of your capital is investing into that building, and then essentially your profit, your gross profit is going to rent.
Absolutely.
Right, and you much rather pay that to yourself than pay that to somebody else.
Yeah.
So you're paying your $2,000 to $5,000 a month. That's all that's basically your gross profit.
yeah, 100%.
Depending on what numbers you're doing in business, that's going away to somebody else
Yep.
that doesn't take care of anything in the building. That
Right.
It's smart if you're a real estate
Yeah.
person because you're like, oh, wait, all you do is pay me rent.
Yep.
But if you're on the other end of it, you're like, wow, like that's money or capitalization that I could use
That's true.
to grow my business or invest in another person.
Or to get to another place, you could use that asset.
Or build my building up.
Yep.
Or like,
Absolutely.
especially when you look at the banks, it's like, oh, you own that asset.
Right.
It's not worth more. You have this in your account. Okay, we'll give you a construction loan.
Yeah.
It's different when you're like, just a renter.
Yep.
You don't have any assets. You have an idea. That's basically what you have. And banks don't invest in risky things like that. So,
Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk to you about, outside of the financial side, is just the reality of being a business owner and a mother.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of our listeners are parents, and I think it'd be interesting for you to share some insight. I know it was really important to you to involve your whole family. It sounds like even your parents are involved, perhaps. So why don't you talk, and Vince works with his family, like why don't you talk about what that's like? Tell us how your family is involved.
Yeah.
And then if you have any advice for that, juggling motherhood and business ownership, I think that'd be really insightful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I really couldn't have put this together without my family. From every aspect of it, to be honest with you, my husband and his support. My parents are angels. I mean, they really are so sweet. They thought I was insane. I'm pretty sure they thought I was insane when I was like, hey Mom, guess what? I'm gonna buy a building and it's gonna be my cookie building. And I think
the door's gonna be pink. It's gonna be great.
Pretty much. And I think that I think she's heard enough ideas from me. She was like, really? Okay. You sure about that? Okay, we'll see.
They say wait to see if the person brings up the idea multiple times before you, like if it's an idea person,
Yeah, so I think it was a bit of a surprise for them when I was like, hey, guess what? The closing's on Tuesday. We're really going to do this. And man, have they been supportive. I mean, like, I will not be at the shop for a couple days or a day. I'll drive by and my parents will be like picking up garbage and raking my, raking my weed, getting rid of all my weeds. Or my dad is like my security lighting person. Like he's installed all the security cameras and the lights, and like I just took a picture yesterday of like a light bulb that was out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, Dad, can you?
Oh yeah, that's the type of stuff though you forget. Like those are so important.
Yeah, I just amazing. And my mom has countless times stepped in to help bake and help run the place. I actually took a vacation the last couple of weeks. Which was crazy because it was like leaving my baby. But my husband's parents have been amazing. Also, they stepped in to be running the business.
Wow,
basically.
That's amazing.
Yeah, my daughter has been right by my side. I make sure that she feels she has decision making. Ability. She's 10, but I make sure I'm like, this pink or that pink, or like, do you like this mural design?
Her daughter rang me up when I was there.
She's a pro.
Like
at the
Ash's
cash
age.
register.
It was cool.
She's a pro. My son, okay, so he's 12, not so involved. Maybe he'll come around. I might force him to pretty soon, but he hasn't been. My husband's super involved on many levels. Parents-in-law make deliveries for me. I mean, it's just, it never ends, the support that I get from them. I do make my husband pay for cookies when he comes in, by the way.
Oh, really?
Because I do. Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then, what was the second part of your question? How do they help?
Yeah, just about balancing. When you said you didn't want to be a lawyer, working all those hours.
Yeah.
That's part of why I would never open a brick and mortar, because I would, that kind of freaks me out about the hours and all that. So I'd be curious about. Now, obviously, you're in a bakery. It's not like you're open till midnight, which is nice. So I would just love to know how you've created that balance, because we also can't pretend that owning a bakery is easy.
No. And
so
it's a different kind of work.
Yeah.
I'll say that. And I'll be honest with you, when I first thought, along the way and thinking of this idea and this brick and mortar, I had these visions from a while ago. Like, I thought it was going to be kind of like a sleepy little bakery. Honestly, like a really cute, but kind of, kind of just like, would you like a cookie? Here you go, sweet. And then I'll read a book in my downtime. And then, speaking of my husband was like, this is going to be the it place.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be a destination for people. People
Literally.
are going to come to you. You're going to make it amazing. And then I got on board with his vision fast.
I love that.
So absolutely true. It is work, and it might be as much work or more work than lawyering or any professional job, but it is work that I love.
Yeah.
And that's true. And it's mine.
So is that the secret right there?
I think so.
Yeah, what's the adage? Do what you love, you never work a day.
Yeah.
And it's mine. Like I don't know. I always have felt like a personal stake in every job I've had. Like I've treated it like my own, but there is something special about having something of your own.
Oh, yeah.
And
isn't it funny you thought being the lawyer was a special thing?
Yeah.
And now look at this.
It's
You have
super
another special thing.
Yeah.
There's more than one special thing.
100%. You just have to find your individual special thing.
Totally.
It's work, but it's work. It's one of the issues I'm having like right now. One of the challenges is staffing, because now that have a place that's a successful place and we have set hours, I have had the privilege of hiring like 6 people, and most of them are going back to school.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing. So now
I've heard that from so many restaurants right now.
Yeah.
That they have this great summer staff, but they're all going back to college.
And I see signs in every building, and we have a sign in ours too. It's not a real sign, but it's a Indeed.com sign. So I mean that's a challenge, because every hour that I'm open that I don't have someone, that's me. So along with all the positives that come with owning and all the decision making, as my decision for that cookie, my mural, I made the decision on colors. Like I have a lot of pride in everything about that place. But it's also my responsibility to be there when nobody else is there. It's my responsibility to take care of like everything that has to happen in that place to make it run like it does.
Yeah.
And that is a challenge, because I do have 2 kids, and they have soccer and they have cheerleading, and we all have karate, and I think we're going to get an exchange student this year, and I volunteer at CASA, and I mean there's just like a lot going on.
So I have a question for you. When you are facing a challenge like that, which is of course Vince has experienced the higher, that's an industry wide, right?
Yeah.
Where do you go for guidance, support, advice? We have the Irish Lemon Mastermind, where we bring together business owners and we talk about those challenges. Are you part of different groups or organizations? Like, how do you work your way through that? Do you talk to other bakers in town, for example? Do you have like a community of? I just want to know, how do you guys? What do you do in those situations?
I actually have not established that, and maybe I will. As maybe I'll leave this podcast today and go do that.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done that yet.
I was just curious. Yeah.
No, I haven't done that yet. And right now, I bounce things off of those closest to me, my family, honestly. I mean, my dad is a super wise business person and an attorney as well. And so, I talk to him a lot. Like, hey, what do you think? I'm not saying I take his advice all the time.
Yeah.
But I like the perspective, and he gives me perspectives. My whole family, the folks I work with, my husband, I mean, so I don't have a professional group that I bounce things off of and discuss that. I should.
Okay, well, we're going to definitely tell you about him.
I
Sorry, I
should.
didn't interrupt you. Like, you should give the pitch to that as part of the episode.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're listening right now, and Allie, I'm going to tell you about it. Please. So we have the Irish Lemon Mastermind, which was really created in part due to what you're talking about right now. We're all part of different industries, and it can be lonely when you're a business owner, and you sometimes have issues that you face that you can't always lean on, for example, your spouse every time, or even your employees, and you need to find a group of like-minded individuals to bounce ideas off of, brainstorm. Vince, what else?
You put me on the spot here.
All right.
You guys have the video. I was definitely zoned out. Yeah, I don't know what you said.
All right. Well, I'll just. Do you want me just to keep going?
Yeah, I mean, we create that mastermind just to have that community. We can share things with people. I mean, you guys can Google Mastermind to kind of understand what it is. And so we created our own. And so we're doing a class November, right? Mm-hmm. So you guys can sign up for our class. We had 2 classes last year, which was great during the pandemic. And then just seeing some people's businesses exploding, other people pivoting their businesses.
Yep.
And so it's great to have that community where you can kind of talk and figure some things out. And so, that's the Irie Lemon Mastermind. So.
Yeah, you can learn more at irielemon.com. Click on Mastermind. But I was thinking of that, Allie, as you were talking, because I think especially it's nice to talk to other people and also just know you're not alone.
Yeah.
Or, hey guys, like we do a hot seat. Like I'm struggling with this right now. What ideas do you have? Because chances are other people have faced similar problems and situations, and you can kind of brainstorm them together. So
I love that.
That's
I love
definitely,
that. And that's something, I said that I identified early I needed help with social media. I identified these pockets that I need help with. And one of the things that I've actually been thinking lately is, wouldn't it be nice if I had like somebody to help me so I didn't have to spend, 5 hours on Google?
Exactly.
Like, what do people do in this situation? So that seems like
I feel like every
amazing.
business owner needs a group like that.
Yeah.
I was just talking to another store owner that's dealing with different issues, and we all, as small business owners, we don't have like a huge, 20-person board of directors that we can go to.
Right.
So it's almost like creating our own board of directors that we can go to anytime. And we have a Facebook group where you can connect in between the calls. And I think it just can be lonely dealing with those things.
Yeah. And it saves a lot of time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. That's great. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
So Vince, as we wrap up here, do you have any final... First of all, are you going to try a cookie?
I will later, yeah.
You guys, I just had one there.
I put a fluffer nutter in there.
Oh, I think I took a bite of that.
Did you take a bite of that?
It was so good.
Lemon almond, something called the Tookie. My son couldn't pronounce cookie when he was little, so I got like the most child-friendly cookie and called it the Tookie, and then a fluffer nutter.
Guys, they look great.
They're so good.
And I would eat it, but I ate before this, and I'm like super full, and my stomach's
No offense taken.
So I'm not trying to eat your cookie. I'm gonna eat it, and I'll let you know.
I'm hoping you forget to
please let me
lose them.
know.
But yeah, I mean, they look amazing. They smell amazing.
Thank
so
you.
I think this is going to be crazy.
You're going to love them.
And they look great. They look unique for cookies too.
Thank you.
Where can people learn more? And do you ship still? Like, can you?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
So tell
Right
us
now,
where
we
people
don't.
can. Totally fine. So where could people learn more about you? What's your Instagram account? And also remind us where your shop is located.
Yes. So our Instagram and Facebook is at The Good Cookie Sweet Shop.
Perfect.
So you can find out everything about us there. We have a webpage, www.thegoodcookiesweetshop.com, and we are located at the corner of Fulton and Fuller in Grand Rapids.
Right by the farmers market, guys.
Kudos
Check it
them.
out.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It was so fun to talk to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. It was a lot of fun for me too.
Yeah, I love listening to your story. If you're really working, I think you're gonna crush it.
Thanks.
Because it's mission driven. So
I so appreciate that.
thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You gon' learn this jazz today. Yes, you going to learn this jazz. Ooh, I even taught your girl some jazz yesterday. True. No, I'm just playing.